Definitely not going to shoot him.
Number 2.
I'm definitely not going to shoot him. Good. Why did you even say that?
Forest in Pennsylvania. Yet when he examined the footage, there was a spooky snap of a bizarre gorilla.
That looks like a friggin' werewolf, dude. Maybe Bigfoot's not real, but werewolves are. Maybe Bigfoot has been popularized to cover for the existence of real werewolves. Do you ever think of that? Hello, lovely people. My name is Emma. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new. As I'm sure most of you are aware, I am quite a skeptical person. As such, I've cultivated quite a skeptical audience here on YouTube. It's fairly rare that I see more than 1 or 2 people who believe in some kind of conspiracy within my comment section. For some reason, that is different whenever I mention Bigfoot. Anytime Bigfoot comes up, which is suspiciously often, there are a surprising number of people who say, I believe in Bigfoot, there's evidence for Bigfoot, there's more evidence for Bigfoot than X thing we're talking about, etc, etc. And I want to know why. Of all the conspiracy things to believe in, I think cryptozoology is probably the one to go for. Someone's going to get upset at me for calling cryptozoology conspiracy theorizing. I'm just not sure what to call it. Give me ideas in the comments. So I want to know what I'm missing, what I'm getting wrong. Is there some hard evidence for Bigfoot that has just passed me by? I thought it was all kind of spurious faked footage and hearsay. So I feel like I should do a proper little investigation. I'd like to start by reading my favorite YouTube comment about Bigfoot. I've never seen a Bigfoot myself, but according to my older sister, she and her friend had, when they were out riding horses, scared the hell out of their horses. Why did your sister and her friend scare their own horses? That's just mean. The horses bolted on their own out the area. Upon this, my sister said they looked back trying to figure out what was going on, and seen this rather huge, upright walking creature going out from one wooded area into the other. She described its height was as if cow had stood up its 2 hind feet and walked away. This creature tuff was white in colour opposed to the common dark brown and black variant, and there is absolutely no reason for my sister to have lied to me or made it up. So that's pretty compelling testimony already. So I want to start with something that I do know about, which is Ray Wallace and the Big Feet hoax. I couldn't think of an alternative way of phrasing it. The Big Feet hoax that I think kind of started this whole thing. This is a New York Times article about it. The children of Ray L. Wallace announced their prank-loving pop had created the modern myth of Bigfoot when he used a pair of carved wooden feet to stomp a track of oversized footprints in a Northern California logging camp in 1958. Apparently Ray Wallace was a bit of a prankster and just enjoyed making people laugh and doing all kinds of kooky things. Sounds like a pretty cool guy, not gonna lie. Why am I so reflective today? Is it just because the natural light is coming in so bright from the window? But I like having the sun. You'll just have to deal with me having a reflective face today. Michael Wallace said his father had a friend carve the feet. Then he had a truck drive him slowly to create a large gate as he stomped the prints in the ground. This article also mentions a Dr. Fahrenbach, who has tried to prove by DNA analysis of hair samples that Bigfoot is a species heretofore unknown to science. To date, he's come up empty, which he attributes to fragmented DNA. Which is not a great start. That's a potential origin, or at least a popularization of the Bigfoot phenomenon, is Ray Wallace and his fake big feet. To celebrate, by the way, or rather to fit in, I have today worn my own big feet. Bigfoot's real, guys. It was me. So those are the feet. That's faux evidence number 1. Scratch that off. Those footprints were faked. All this talk of Bigfoot brings one question to mind. What separates us from the animals? Good skincare, obviously. Fortunately for my fellow great apes, this video is sponsored by Geology. Geology is an award-winning hair, body and skincare brand. They have over 10,000 5-star reviews, they've won over 30 prestigious awards. Geology makes simple and effective hair and skincare routines just for you. Whether you want to fight acne, reduce oiliness, whatever your skin issues personally, Geology has a routine for you. Simply click on the link down below or scan the QR code, take this 30-second quiz, tell them about your skin and your goals. The Geology dermatologists will create a custom routine just for you, which is then sent directly to your door. My favourite thing about Geology is how simple it is. I can't do habits, I don't form routines naturally, that part of my brain is just missing, I guess. Geology gives you these really handy cards that explain exactly what your routine is, what you do and when. I'm on regimen 20, so these are my products and this is how they work. And on the back, we have the active ingredients. Even easier than that for everyday use, we have the actual products. So this is my eye cream. You can see it says number 2, so I know that I need to use number 1, my face wash. Then number 2, my eye cream, followed by number 3, my night cream. So simple and easy. Here's my face wash. You can see that's number 1. I also love this one that has the size guide on the back for how much product you should actually use. I've said this before, but I really like that this is unscented. It just makes me feel more like my face is actually clean rather than I've just sort of slapped some smell on it. Does that make sense? I prefer it. Do check it out using my link down below. Use the code EmmaThorne70, get 70% off your skincare trial set. You're getting over $49 worth of products for just $15. It's a great deal. Plus, you can get up to 50% off add-ons of your choice. Do check it out, bag yourself that deal. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you Geology for sponsoring this video. And my skin. Our next piece of historic evidence is the Patterson Gilmin film. This is the now iconic 60-second footage of a Sasquatch/Bigfoot having a stroll through the forest. The short was filmed in a place called Bluff Creek, which is actually not that far away from where Ron did his wooden big feet prank. Roger Patterson, all the way up to his death, maintained that this was real footage. He self-published a book in 1966 called Do Abominable Snowmen of America Really Exist? The book has been characterized as little more than a collection of newspaper clippings laced together with his circus poster-style prose. That's not very nice. Okay, I kind of want to read that. Put that on my reading list. This is how the story goes. Friday, October 20th, 1967. Early afternoon. Patterson and Gilmin were riding horses upstream along the east bank of Bluff Creek. At some point between 1:15 and 1:40 p.m, they came to an overturned tree with a large root system at a turn in the creek almost as high as a room. When they rounded it, there was a log jam, left over from the flood of '64, and then they spotted the figure behind it nearly simultaneously. It was either, depending on accounts, crouching beside the creek to the left or standing there on the opposite bank. Patterson initially estimated its height between 6 foot 6 inches and 7 feet, and later raised his estimate to about 7 feet 6 inches. Cheeky Roger trying to make it seem bigger after the fact. Patterson estimated he was about 25 feet away from the creature at his closest. He said that his horse reared upon sensing the figure, and he spent about 20 seconds extricating himself from the saddle, controlling his horse, getting his camera from a saddlebag, before he could run towards the creature while operating his camera. He yelled, "Cover me," to Gilmin, meaning get the gun out. He chased after the creature as it walked away. He then describes the creature as looking over its shoulder at him with a look of contempt. Let's actually watch the footage before we get any further along. So, beautiful scenery, them on horseback, into the Bigfoot section. It does kind of just look like a person walking along. He's running to catch up with it. It sort of looks at him. Hi. It's got the gait of a person casually strolling to the supermarket. Here he goes. See you later, Bigfoot. That's it. That's the Gilmin Patterson film. There hasn't been much mainstream investigation into this film, which I guess isn't that surprising, but it makes it kind of harder to look up. We're going to read some other people's opinions because I have no expertise in the area, obviously, but to me it just looks very casual. I can't imagine a great ape just like seeing people run after it and just being like, do-do-do-do-do-do-do. But hey, what do I know? Maybe Bigfoot is just like completely nonchalant about folks running around trying to film it with a camera. So some of the scientific studies are kind of interesting. There's some cryptozoologists, some kind of believers who think that the footage was fake, which I think is really interesting. There's a chap called Bernard Heuvelmans. That's probably not how you say his name. Who thought that the creature in the film was a suited human. He objected to the film subject's hair flow pattern as being too uniform, to the hair on the breasts as not being like a primate, to its buttocks as being insufficiently separated, and its too calm retreat from the pursuing men. Me too, Bernard. I thought that as well. I feel so smart. Prominent primate expert John Napier was one of the few mainstream scientists not only to critique the Patterson-Gilmin film, but also to study then available Bigfoot evidence in a generally sympathetic manner. He conceded the likelihood of Bigfoot as a real creature, stating, "I am convinced that Sasquatch exists, but he argued against the film being genuine. First, he says the length of the footprints are totally at variance with its calculated height. The footprints are of the hourglass type, which he is suspicious of. He adds, "I could not see the zipper, and I still can't. There I think we must leave the matter." Esteban Sarmiento is a specialist in physical anthropology at the American Museum of Natural History. He writes, "I did find some inconsistencies in appearance and behaviour that might suggest a fake, but nothing that conclusively shows that this is the case. His most original criticism is, the plantar surface of the feet is decidedly pale, but the palm of the hand seems to be dark. There is no mammal I know of in which the plantar sole differs so drastically in colour from the palm." Essentially, everybody who studied it said the same kind of things. There are some inconsistencies you can make, but it's impossible to say one way or the other whether this is a real, unknown creature or a human in a suit. Without a body to study, without better footage, meh. But it's 2024 now. Everyone and their mum's walking around with an HD camera in their pocket. Surely some high-quality Bigfoot footage exists now. So it turns out Animal Planet did an 11-season show called Finding Bigfoot, but 11 seasons in, they never found Bigfoot. So I just started Googling evidence for Bigfoot, because that's how you do research in 2024. And I found this Live Science article, "Is Bigfoot Real? Everything you need to know about the Sasquatch." Bigfoot or Sasquatch is a large ape-like creature some people believe inhabits North America, but there's no hard evidence it actually exists. Apparently there have been more than 10,000 eyewitness accounts of Bigfoot in the continental US. In these accounts, Bigfoot is usually described as being about 8 to 10 feet tall and covered in hair. Eyewitness reports are the most common evidence put forward for the existence of Bigfoot. Unfortunately, as Live Science points out, these are based on human memories, and memories are not reliable. It also makes a point of saying, with the rise of high-quality cameras and smartphones, photographs of people, cars, mountains, flowers, sunsets, deer, and more have gotten sharper and clearer over the years. Bigfoot is a notable exception. The logical explanation for this discrepancy is that the creatures don't exist, and that photographs of them are merely hoaxes or misidentifications. Some people claim to have heard Bigfoot shrieks, howls, growls, screams, or other vocalizations. They're also associated with other noises such as wood knocking, according to Scientific American. Strange noise recordings associated with Bigfoot occasionally attract media attention, but the noises can often be attributed to known animals such as foxes or coyotes. I've done my impression of a fox screaming on this channel before. If you forget what a fox sounds like, it's easy to think there is, like, a cursed ghost woman in distress. Because they are like, and that's just a little fox. The anthropologist Krantz has discussed sound recordings, and Bigfoot hair, feces, blood, stuff like that. He says the usual fate of these items is that they either receive no scientific study or else the documentation of the study is either lost or unobtainable. In most cases where competent analyses have been made, the material turned out to be bogus or else no determination could be made. Oh, here's a point that I had never thought of. The study of genetics provides another reason to doubt the existence of Bigfoot. A single creature can't breed and maintain a population, much less a species. For Bigfoot to be viable, it would need to have a population or populations large enough to avoid inbreeding and low genetic diversity, or else face extinction. The existence of multiple Bigfoot increases the chance... Big feet? I guess Bigfoot is the plural of Bigfoot. We learned something new today. It's all been worthwhile. The existence of multiple Bigfoot, it feels weird, increases the chances that one will be killed by a hunter or hit by a motorist or even found dead by a hiker or farmer at some point, yet no bodies have ever been found. People do occasionally claim to find bones or other large body parts. For example, a man in Utah discovered what he thought was a fossilized Bigfoot skull in 2013. A paleontologist confirmed that the skull was simply an oddly weathered rock. Fortunately, here on History.com, we can read about the fact that Bigfoot was investigated by the FBI. Here's what they found. In 2019, the FBI released its 4-decade-old file on Bigfoot, including analysis conducted on hair that allegedly belonged to the Sasquatch. The results? Deer hair. It was just deer. In 1976, director Peter Byrne of the Bigfoot Information Center sent the FBI about 15 hairs attached to a tiny piece of skin. He wrote that his organisation couldn't identify what kind of animal it came from and was hoping the FBI might analyse it. He also wanted to know if the FBI had analysed suspected Bigfoot hair before, and if so, what their conclusion was. I didn't know that that was what the FBI did. Jay Cochran Jr., Assistant Director of the FBI's Scientific and Technical Services Division, wrote back to Byrne that he couldn't find any evidence of the FBI analysing suspected Bigfoot hair, and that the FBI only usually examined physical evidence relating to criminal investigations. Bro, why are you writing to us about Bigfoot? We're trying to solve crimes. Still, it sometimes made exceptions in the interest of research and scientific inquiry, and Cochrane said he'd make such an exception for Burn. But the next year, he sent the hair back and was like, it's, deer. It's deer hair. So that doesn't help. Where else is there to turn but YouTube? Let's have a look at Watch Mojo's top 10 unbelievable Bigfoot sightings caught on camera. By now, it stands to reason that there must be something somewhere, some piece of footage that is higher quality, that clearly shows an unidentified great ape species, maybe related to the big 8-foot whatever South Asian creature that existed 10,000 years ago that people think Bigfoot is related to somehow. Let's just see. There's got to be something out there if people are saying there's too much evidence not to believe in Bigfoot. Where is it? Show it to me.
Number 10, Provo Bigfoot. In 2012, YouTuber Beard Card was camping with friends in Provo Canyon, Utah. They wanted to get a better look at the creatures. However, then they saw something else. As they got closer, they began to wonder if what they were seeing was actually a bear. So they kept their distance. But then, the dark shape stands up sharply. Now it looks more like the legendary Bigfoot. Understandably, the campers were spooked enough to sprint away from the imposing figure.
That looks like a bear to me. I don't know about you, but that does look like a bear. And at the second that it looks like it could be something different, the footage goes all shaky and they run away. It's just so unfortunate that that always happens. That was only number 10, so they're bound to get better and better.
Dawn 2012 seemed to be a hotbed of Sasquatch activity. This time, a hiker was in the woods when they spotted an intimidating figure walking among some trees before it kneeled down.
What the?
Even hearing the filmer's frightened breathing is nerve-wracking, but it gets worse. The figure, seemingly realizing the company, stands up suddenly and throws what appears to be a rather large rock. Of course, with such a display from an unknown creature with a big build, the person runs off.
Is this a real person or is this an AI voice? Because it's really weird. Apologies to whoever this is at Watch Mojo if that's like... If you're a real person and that's your actual voice, I'm so sorry, but you sound like AI. Seeing this creature, it's clear that they... You know what I mean? Like the tone is just up and down in a way that doesn't really match the words they're saying. Very odd. But also, to me, that didn't invoke fear. That was like... Oh my god! What's that? I hope my video goes viral voice. You know, that didn't sound real to me.
And we don't blame them. Number 8, Allegheny Bigfoot. In 2007, Hunter Rick Jacobs set up a trail camera against a tree in the Allegheny National Forest in Pennsylvania. Yet when he examined the footage, it wasn't the typical creatures of the forest that caught his attention. There was a spooky snap of a bizarre gorilla.
That looks like a friggin' werewolf, dude. Maybe Bigfoot's not real, but werewolves are. Maybe Bigfoot has been popularized to cover for the existence of real werewolves. Do you ever think of that?
Beast that wandered across the frame. The Bigfoot
It's doing yoga!
research organization to whom Jacob sent the image claimed it looked like a juvenile Sasquatch. Representatives from the Pennsylvania Game Commission stated that the photo seems to be of a bear with some kind of skin disease like mange.
Oh,
appears
no.
to be a bear with a severe case of skin disease.
Aw, that evidence made me sad. That's sad. Poor baby. Okay, not a werewolf then, it's a bear with mange. Damn it.
The pricey study. In 2013, in Dallas, Texas, the Sasquatch Genome Project hosted a news conference where they went public with a series of clips and evidence to demonstrate that Sasquatches do indeed.
I'm sorry, can we go back to that? Can we go back to that last clip? Look at this guy.
Sasquatch Genome Project hosted a news conference where they went public with a series of clips and evidence to demonstrate that Sasquatches do indeed exist.
We've all had experiences that have changed our lives. I mean, literally shook the foundations of what we believe in.
I don't fully get it. Like, I think it's awesome, and if you're an anthropologist, I get why it would be like, this could change the course of, like, well, not change the course, but this could be, like, an amazing scientific discovery. But, like, even if it turned out that, like, there's a large ape that we weren't aware of before, I don't get what about that is so life-changing. It's not like... You know, like a lot of cryptid stuff is like, it's a shape-shifting creature that can distend its jaw 10 meters. Like, it's interesting because it's like, ooh, but like the Sasquatch, Yeti, Bigfoot thing is like, if it turned out to be real, as in it turned out that there was like another large ape species that we weren't aware of, would that change everything? Would that change your whole life? I don't really understand why. Do I just not get it? Is it a cultural thing? If I was from North America, would I completely understand and appreciate the Bigfoot thing? Because like my people, my people have Nessie, but I don't believe in Nessie either. And nobody I know believes in Nessie. It's just like, it's a cool thing to have on a fridge magnet. It's probably an elephant from a circus. You know, I don't get the fascination with Bigfoot. Because, like, if the Loch Ness Monster was real, it would be a fucking huge sea monster. I don't get what about Bigfoot is so, like, whoa. Help me out. Help me understand.
Proof in analyzing footage from another investigation known as
There's
the
another
Erickson
guy going
Project.
for a stroll in the woods.
The studied clips included footage of an apparent juvenile Bigfoot walking through a forest, while another purported to show a sleeping Sasquatch. All this in-depth research and data collection had cost the SGP a hefty $500,000.
Shit!
They say they also have DNA proof of Bigfoot's existence.
Some mocked the analysis, saying it was not rooted in concrete scientific methods, and the best images the SGP could produce were dark, grainy, or otherwise inconclusive.
Yeah, right? Like, why is it all if there's all this evidence, why can they only get footage of it that is like super dark and shaky and grainy? Like, why don't Bigfoot chasers go out with a fucking gimbal, like a Steadicam or something? Why is it always like shaky handheld footage in the dark at low resolution? It just doesn't, I hate to say it, it doesn't check out. We're only on number 6 of this list, so maybe things will become more compellingly Bigfoot-y as we go.
Digging skunk ape. In
Digging skunk
2013, a man named Josh Highcliffe was hunting in the swamps near Tunica, Mississippi. He heard a noise and went to investigate, hoping it was the hogs he was after. Instead, Highcliffe spotted a black furry creature
Has man not got a zoom on his camera? Why can't he zoom in?
crouched near a tree, seemingly stripping it of its bark or digging at its roots, perhaps for truffles? Only when it stood up did the hunter get scared enough to take off.
They always take off at the same moment. Most of these are fake, right? Like, I'm sure some things are like people see footage that they don't immediately understand, they can't immediately identify, same with the hair thing, and they genuinely want somebody to analyse it. But a lot of these are like, oh my god, what's that just over there? And then the second it would become more visible, they run away in terror. If you were that dedicated to finding Bigfoot, you'd fucking put your camera down on a tripod. And if you were that scared, you would run away and then go back for it later. Like, something is silly. We know it's silly. We know this is silly, right?
Highcliffe was adamant that the 7-foot beast wasn't a bear. Overhead Sasquatch. YouTube channel Ken's Carpentry went to find a bear and her 2 cubs in the Vermont woods before spotting something he didn't know what to make of.
What the world?
What in the world? What in tarnation is that? It looks like a man in an ape suit having a stroll.
He sent a drone up to investigate, and shortly into the flight, instead of spotting a cute bear family, Ken captured what appears to be a bipedal beast strolling through the trees without a worry in the world. TikTok.
Even the narrator is like, Bigfoot seems so casual. He's just like having a stroll. He's just having to get his daily constitutional. Why are Bigfoot always so casual?
Accounts and other social media users believe this to be the real deal and proof of Bigfoot. However, it's not. It was reported to be a joke by Ken's Carpentry, who had previously released a video of someone in a Bigfoot costume helping build a cabin.
Okay. Ken's Carpentry, new favourite YouTube channel. You're into carpentry, go subscribe to them. They seem fucking fun. But Watch Mojo, why is this on the list? Why is this number 5 on the list of top 10 unbelievable Bigfoot sightings? It's a known joke. That's the thing, that these, like, not just cryptids, but any kind of conspiracy like this, people are so ready to believe stuff that you can make a prank go viral with people believing it and defending it. Isn't that crazy? Oh man. That's funny though. I like Ken's carpentry.
Number 4, the trail snap. In 2012,
I can't believe that was number 5. Craig Sulk, Michigan Bigfoot witness. How do you get that kind of credential? That's so funny. Oh, bless him. He looks like a Bigfoot witness.
Craig Sulk had set up a trail camera on his property in Menominee, Michigan to help monitor quarry. However,
I wish I lived somewhere like this, where you just like have all this lovely nature around you and you can just like set up a camera and watch deer chilling out. That's so cool. I ain't living in this stupid city.
as he examined the footage, one particular shot among the deer called for a closer look. In one frame, a bizarre primate-like figure can be spotted obscured by trees. Sulk believed he had photographed the famous Sasquatch. He sent the image to the TV show Finding Bigfoot.
I mean, that is consistent with all the footage of Bigfoot we have. Coincidentally, way at the back of frame at a distance in the dark, like, that checks out. He never happens to wander right in front of a camera. It's so weird.
Which he was a fan of and who did an episode on his find.
Oh, he thought he saw Bigfoot, having already been a fan of the show Finding Bigfoot. I'm sure that didn't influence him at all.
Sulk's image inspired a lot of viewers, who contacted him to recount their tales of interacting with the mythical beast. Unfortunately, Sulk passed away from cancer in 2021, but his contribution to the Bigfoot community lives on.
This thing came by, was at the right place at the right time to get his photograph taken. Maybe that's a Bigfoot.
He was at the right place at the right time. Unfortunately, just really hard to see in the shot. Aw, Sulk, I hope you had a good life. He lived in a beautiful area. He was looking for Bigfoot. Love you, man. Rest in peace.
The Monster of Marble Mountain.
Number 3.
In 2001, Christian youth group leader Jim Mills took the kids on a backpacking trip in the Marble Mountains of Northern California.
We notice claw marks as we look at the trees and stuff.
But it got weirder as something on the mountain caught their attention. A very tall figure can be seen walking down a ridge, apparently getting more and more agitated as it makes its way closer.
It's kind of looking at us.
Immediately, the kids and Mills believe it's Bigfoot due to its longer than average arms and unique gait. The footage didn't really gain any traction until 2011, a year after Mills sadly passed away.
Aw, man, is everyone in this dead? What a bummer. Their legacy lives on in the Bigfoot community. That's just a guy. That's just a dude. I love that they immediately thought it was Bigfoot. Of course they did. Of course they fucking did. Sometimes I'll, like, see my own reflection in the dark in a door or something and jump because I think it's a monster. But it's not really a monster. You know what I mean?
I'm definitely not going to shoot him.
Number 2.
I'm definitely not going to shoot him. Good. Why did you even say that? It's just a guy walking on the ridge. Why would you shoot him? Even if it was a Bigfoot, why would you shoot it? It's way over there just walking around. America.
Family of Bigfoots. During the 80s, Paul Freeman was working for the U.S. Forest Service when he claimed he came across an 8-foot-tall Bigfoot. He even took plaster casts of its footprint, which experts apparently deemed were likely from an unknown species.
4 little tracks here.
This is the 80s, so we might be able to Google this and find something out. Paul Freeman was an American Bigfoot hunter. As reported by Professor Grover Krantz, Freeman was known for formerly having fabricated footprint evidence. Paul. If you fabricate evidence to try and prove your point, no one's gonna believe you if you find real evidence. It's a boy who cried wolf situation. Naughty Paul. Okay, well, write that one off then.
Freeman vowed to get indisputable proof of the creature's existence. In the early 90s, while filming in the woods near the Blue Mountains in Washington, he found more unusual footprints to make casts from. As Freeman walked further into the brush, however, he seemingly spotted a Sasquatch in the distance, entirely unconcerned about Freeman's presence.
Oh, there he goes.
A few moments later...
Oh shit, there he is. There he goes. Bigfoot's always so chill. Bigfoot is forever just like a guy having a walk who's just like, going Tesco's, you want anything?
He erupts saying there are actually 2 of them.
There's 2 of them, I guess.
What became known as the Freeman footage, this recording was praised by many as definitive proof.
Definitive proof by a known hoaxer. Alright, Oh, number 1 is the Patterson Gilmin film. Okay. Well, I'll be completely honest with you guys. I'm not convinced. I'm just not convinced. There's no DNA evidence. The famous kind of footprint evidence is from one known hoax and one guy who had in the past done a footprint hoax, so I don't find him a very trustworthy source. And all the rest of it is like grainy footage where Bigfoot always happens to be far in the distance and difficult to see and like behind trees, and or it just looks like a guy or it just looks like a dude. I just don't get it. I just feel like I'm missing something. Like I think it might just be some sort of cultural appreciation for Bigfoot that I'm missing. Like maybe it's like growing up with a certain religion. You just have this sort of inbuilt faith in the thing that makes the little bits of evidence seem more compelling, because I just don't get it. I look at all this stuff and I'm like, yeah, the best we have is terrible footage that doesn't prove anything one way or the other. That's not great. And it's not even that exciting a cryptid. Like, no shade to Bigfoot. I'm sure if he's real, he's a cool guy. He always seems very casual. It's not like he has Godzilla powers or something. Just like it's like a cool monkey. I love monkeys. I'm a Monkey World supporter. This is Amy the orangutan, who I sponsor. If it turned out there was a previously unknown species of ape that was like remarkably different from other grey apes and humans and all this, maybe it was an ancestor of some ancient species that we thought went extinct a long time ago, that would all be really fascinating and cool. But it wouldn't be like life-changing for me, you know? I just don't get it. Please help me understand if you have some insight, if you know of any better evidence, because like I say, there's like 11 seasons of the Bigfoot finding TV show where they never found Bigfoot. There's no like close-up compelling footage of Bigfoot that hasn't been proven to be a hoax or a joke. There's never been a body. There are all these people hunting for Bigfoot who have access to amazing modern technology, and yet we're coming up empty-handed. The only footage we've got is like 80s style still in 2024. It's like 80s style shaky cam footage. And at the crucial moment, everybody who catches a look at Bigfoot always runs away. Maybe that's Bigfoot's scripted power. Is it like inflicts some kind of fear sense that makes people run away. That would be kind of cool, actually. Yeah, let me know your thoughts down below. Tell me your Bigfoot evidence. Was your sister scaring a horse and then saw a Bigfoot? Let me know. Do give this video a cheeky like, consider subscribing so you don't miss future videos, maybe press the notification button. Button. I think I need a break. If you like this channel and you want to support what I do, you can become a channel member for comment priority and some goofy little emotes. I do have a gaming channel if you're interested in that sort of thing. It's a lot of fun. Come find me at Little Duck Gaming. The best way to support this channel is via the Patreon. Consider checking it out. With that, I must give a big old thank you and a shout out to my giant chickens and colossal quackers over on Patreon, especially Conla. God damn it, Conla. Most importantly, have yourselves a very lovely week. Keep an eye on those trail cams for me. We'll find him. And I will see you very soon.